the producer.
I know you ain't been lonely, and I've been going lonely. I know you been feeling lonely, and I've been going lonely. I know you been feeling lonely. I know you wonder your own thing, and I've been smoking on strong ways. I know you ain't been home, babe. I know you been feeling lonely. I know you wonder your own thing, and I've been smoking on strong, babe. I know you ain't been home, babe. I know you wonder your own thing. I know you wonder your own thing. I'm smoking on strong, babe. All of my money, like Robert De Niro. I'm eating the hair on, smoking gelato. She know where they be though. All on the bar store, I'm there with these Bimbos. I ride in the Benzos, I ride in gelato. All in the Lambo, I'm with the famo. She know where they be though. I'm on the north side, bitch in the mile wide. Know where they be though. Average. I know you been feeling lonely. I know you wonder your own thing, and I've been smoking on strong days. I know you ain't been home, babe. I know you been feeling lonely. I know you wonder your own thing, and I've been smoking on strong days. I know you ain't been home, babe. I know you wonder your own thing. I know you wonder your own thing. She hit me on FaceTime. I tell her little bitch why. Tell her little bitch though. I let her go pie though. I heard her on Sky though. She know what it be though. I hear her every day though. I've been busy though. Yeah. Bad little bitch in my car though. She is a bad little bitch in my car. I tell her little bitch, you know you a slob. I tell her little bitch, looking so good, and your son so kiss, and your sin look good. You know she from the hood, and she all that bad wood. She know what's good, and she know. I know you been feeling lonely. I know you wonder your own thing, and I've been smoking on strong days. I know you ain't been home, babe. I know you been feeling lonely. I know you wonder your own thing, and I've been smoking on strong, babe. I know you ain't been home, babe. I know you wonder your own thing.
Welcome to the check-in report. I am your humble yet gracious host, trueandlivin. I'm in the building. We're here to talk about Don Lemon. Don Lemon arrested. Now, I ain't gonna lie, man. Hold on. I'm having some technical difficulties. Give me 1 second, y'all. My camera. I don't know why my camera's acting up today. My camera is acting up. Give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. My camera is acting up like I've never seen before. My camera's acting up, so we're gonna have to see how that works out. But yeah, Don Lemon arrested. We're here to talk about it today. We're here to talk about it. You know what's going on with Don Lemon. He was arrested today. He did get out. He did get out. We're here to talk about that today. Hit the like button. Hopefully we won't get more my camera won't continue to mess up today. I don't know why it's messing up today. I've never had that issue before, but today for some reason I'm having that issue. But yeah, Don Lemon arrested. The White House making fun of him. Don Lemon arrested for involvement in the St. Paul Church riots. Don Lemon. And the crazy thing is, when we first talked about this, I thought about this being a scenario. I said, you know what? More than likely, we're gonna have to see who has the last laugh in this whole scenario, because Nicki Minaj may have the last laugh here. Nicki Minaj may have the last, and clearly, right now she's having the last laugh. Don Lemon gets his ass thrown in jail. The DOJ comes after him. I was pretty surprised at this too. I didn't think that this was going to happen so abruptly. I mean, this was like what, a week or two ago. And they also arrested a few other people. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me go down. You're going into my personal stuff. Hold on. Let's listen to TMZ when they talked about Don Lemon being arrested.
Dictatorship. So the Trump administration wonders why people are saying that they are trying to form a dictatorship. Well, look at the landscape. Arresting Don Lemon, who covered a protest in Minneapolis, is just insane, ridiculous, dictator-like. This is the playbook that dictators use to destroy democracies and take the will of the people away. It is as simple as that. The First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason. It is considered the preferred amendment when you have to start balancing what's more important.
Did Don Lemon break the law? I mean, I do feel like he colluded with the agitators, but I do want to respect that the fact that he is a member of press and he was he was out there doing his journalistic duties. But the reality is he was colluding. He did collude with it. It's not like Don Lemon heard about these protesters, that they were protesting at a church, and he ran down there with his cameraman and his tape recorder and did his journalistic duties. No, he colluded. They gave him future information. They gave him scheduling. This is where we're going to be. We're going to storm the church. He colluded with those people. Now, I would lean on the side of him doing his journalistic duties. This was his journalistic duties. He's a broadcaster. He's a member of the press. I can respect that. I don't think that this case has any legs in terms of him. Now, in terms of the protesters that were there with him, I think that they're going to be prosecuted. But in terms of him, Don Lemon might be able to skate out of this, in my opinion.
The framers of the Constitution knew that a free press was essential to a democracy. Without a free press, you don't have a democracy. And it's real clear that Donald Trump and company doesn't want a free press. The idea that a journalist, which Don Lemon has been for 30 years, would walk into a church and...
They didn't walk into a church. They stormed the church. They didn't walk in the church. They didn't walk in there singing, "We shall overcome." Or they didn't come in there singing, "When the saints come marching in." They wasn't singing that. They came in there storming the church, using profanities, yelling at the children. Let's stop acting like they just walked in there, with their Bible in hand for Bible study. That's not what happened. They came in there and they stormed the church unethically. But I can respect the fact that Don Lemon is a part of the press, and he deserved to be there. He deserved to be there, but he did participate in the agitation there, right?
Film a demonstration which is of national interest.
Was it a demonstration? It was more of an agitation. I don't think it was a demonstration. It was more of an agitation. Salute to FBA. He said, he says, why don't got took down? He caught a Rico. Yeah, Don got taken down, man. He did get released. He's not sitting in jail right now. He got released without bail. They didn't give him any bail, but he got released. So we're gonna have to see how this plays out. Let's continue.
And then to say somehow, when you watch the video, they say he's part of the protest. Watch that video. He is covering the protest. He is covering it. That's what journalists do. I covered riots. I was a local reporter in Los Angeles for 15 years, and I covered riots and floods. and earthquakes and all sorts of things where I had to step into areas where there were police, where there was activity, private property. When you're covering an event like this, like a protest, which I've covered many, you step into it. And that's
Now,
what journalists do.
now let me stop him right there. Let's be honest. That's not exactly what Don Lemon did. Don Lemon linked up with these agitators. He linked up with these activists or these protesters. He linked up with them. It wasn't like I said, it wasn't like Don Lemon heard about these protesters going to a church and in the moment of them protesting, him running up there with a camera man and reporting on what was happening. That's not exactly what happened. Don Lemon, he colluded with these protesters. He collaborated with these protesters, and they, in their collaborative effort, stormed the church. So it's not necessarily, it's in the vein of him being a journalist, but it's also in the vein of him being a part of the protesters that stormed the church. He did collaborate. He did, he's not a member of that church. He was there as a member of the press as something was happening. Now, depending on how you look at it, how you frame it, but let's continue.
And that's what Don Lemon did. The idea that the Justice Department is saying he walked onto private property, that is insane. A church invites everybody in. Have you ever seen a church with a no trespassing sign saying no journalists allowed? Have you ever seen any house of worship that says that? It is in.
Yeah, but a house of worship and a church, they have the right. Plenty of people have been excommunicated from churches, not journalists, but plenty of people have been excommunicated from, different churches, different congregations. They didn't feel that they wanted these people. There's people that I've seen a video where a black woman, the pastor called the police on the black woman in the church, and they said she had to go. So let's be honest, people have been removed from the church before. It's not, does the Bible say everybody should come in, or does the Christian church say that everybody's welcome? Yes. But people have been excommunicated from the church. People have been removed from the church. That has absolutely happened before.
Insane that they're making this stupid argument, transparent. And yet, a grand jury indicted Don Lemon after a magistrate said there's insufficient evidence. Well, a grand jury will indict anybody because Don Lemon doesn't appear before the grand jury. Abby Lowell, his lawyer, doesn't appear before the grand jury. The Justice Department says what the Justice Department wants the grand jury to believe, and almost every time they believe it. It's all the way it's skewed. This is a ridiculous assault, and I don't want to say just on the First Amendment. It's a ridiculous assault on democracy. Trump administration should be ashamed of itself, but they're not. And they will continue to do this. And they are going after journalists. They're getting search warrants for their homes. It is obvious what's happening in.
Yeah, we're gonna play the other woman who she said that she was a camera woman, and she was there filming, and she her house got raided today. She's released as well. Most of them have been released. I don't think they released. I forgot the name of the woman that was the organizer of the protest. But most of them have been released. Don Lemon got released. The camera woman got released. Most of the people have been released. But they are probably I don't think that white man that was going crazy, I don't think he got released yet. He's still in prison.
This country, people, look at what is happening. You're going to look back in 2 years if somebody doesn't stand up to them, and I know people are now, but you're going to look back in 2 years and say, wow, we didn't see that coming. Well, Neville Chamberlain should have saw it coming, and he didn't. And we don't want to be in that position. So wise up, everybody, because it's obvious what's happening here. This is an outrage. So the Trump administration.
Did Don Lemon deserve to be arrested? Was it an arrestable offense? What he did? I'm going to lean on the side of no. I'm going to lean on the side of no. FBA says that's wild. How you get thrown out of church? Listen, that happens, man. It happens. I've seen it before. it's up to the church's discretion if they want you to be in that church. If they decide that that you don't belong in there and that you don't need to be there, it's to their discretion. Now let me go back to that video. Give me 1 second, y'all. Actually, I probably shouldn't be. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Okay, yeah. Let me not scroll down because it might be because Twitter be wilding sometimes. Sometimes Twitter be having some wild stuff. See, I already seen something wild. I'm gonna keep going. Twitter be wilding out sometimes, so let me not scroll down because it be some wild stuff on here. Let's play this right here. This was Nicki Minaj. This was before Don Lemon got arrested as well. So this is actually interesting. It's interesting foreshadowing. Nicki Minaj conducting this interview.
You called for Don Lemon's arrest over his church stunt in Minneapolis. He's since called you racist, unhinged, homophobic, and out of your depth. Anything you'd like to say to Don Lemon?
Cocksucker, stop.
She told that nigga to go suck a Frank. Go get. She sent that nigga to the Frank stand. And listen, I remember when I was doing this show, and I was saying, at that particular point in time, I had Don Lemon up. I had him up. I had him 1 point up. I was like, you know what? I think Don Lemon has won this round, right? He has won this round. You know, pretty much they went back and forth on Twitter. Don Lemon called her a tether. He called her a bigot, a racist, homophobic. He went in. He went in on her. He called her unhinged. He went in on her. And I felt like he had the better half of that because she just kept calling him she just kept sending him to the Frank stand. And, that's pretty much all she was saying. At this particular point in time, I gotta say, Nicki's up right now. Don Lemon, Nicki's up right now. They pulled some strings. They got your little rainbow ass thrown in jail. She's up right now. She's up. She's having the last laugh right now. And I want to know from you guys' perspective, did Don Lemon break the law? I don't think he broke the law, but I want to hear your guys' opinion. Did he break the law? Did he break the law? I need to know from y'all tonight. Let me see what else we got. Don Lemon arrested. Okay, now this is the woman. Let me get to the meat and potatoes of this. This is the woman. Video shows federal agents surrounding the home of Minnesota leftist activist Georgia Fort, who masqueraded as a journalist while attacking a St. Paul church. So this is one of the people that were there and that they raided her home. So let's get into her footage.
Yes. Okay.
I see somebody, but I don't really see.
Okay. Well, this is really scary. There's kids in the house. You guys have not been really friendly in the community. And
let me say this. I think that a lot of what's happening, right? No matter what side you're on, in my opinion, a lot of what's happening, in my opinion, is Trump is on a revenge tour. The political left, they sent assassinators. They tried to send him to jail. They've thrown everything in the kitchen table at him, and he survived it. Now he's in political office, and it's a revenge tour. It's a revenge tour on the liberal newscaster. It's a revenge tour on the TV show Democrat, like the late night TV show Democrat, like Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel. It's a revenge tour for the networks that that probably said facetious things that were defamatory, and Trump is now deciding to suing them, and and they have to pay him out. Trump is on a revenge tour, and everybody wants to hop in the streets and jump. We about to get at Trump. And listen, Trump is on a revenge tour. A lot of us, we're only focusing on what Trump is doing. We're not focusing on the year leading up to him running for office, and all of the things that were thrown at him, the lawsuits, the criminal prosecution, the federal judges. Now they're picking up the Epstein file. They're trying to get him, nab him with the Epstein files. They're trying to do everything to get at this man. And I'm gonna be honest with you. If you want to blame anyone for the state of the world and for the state of the United States that it's in, I don't think you should blame Trump. I think you should blame the political left. The political left have done everything to agitate this man. They've done everything to agitate. We have never seen something like this, where the political left have done absolutely everything to agitate this man. They've tried to throw him in prison. I think personally they tried to, hire some assassinators. They've thrown everything at this man. And he's only turned up on them. He's only thrown it right back in their faces. So if you want to blame anyone for the ICE, you want to blame them for the border, you want to blame Trump for this, that, and the third, I don't think you should blame Trump. I think you should blame the Democrats. The Democrats are responsible. If the Democrats would have just chilled out, rolled out that wave, especially that first wave, if they would have just chilled out, rolled out that first wave of Trump, just took the January 6th riots on the chin and said, you know what, we're going to take that on the chin. Biden is in office now, and they would have just left him alone, not go after him and suing him, criminally prosecuting him, trying to throw him in jail. If they would have just left the man alone, let the man go on the Mar-a-Lago lot and play golf. Let the man do what he do. If you would have just left the man alone, you probably would have got another Democratic president in office. It might have not been Kamala. I don't think Kamala was going to win. But if Joe Biden would have stepped down, if there was a primary allowed to happen in the Democratic section, maybe Trump runs again. Maybe he decides not to, if you would have left him alone. And, you had a primary, you had a Democratic opponent that was up to the task. I think that they would have had a good chance to have a Democratic president. But it was all the constant prying. You continually went at this man. And he's only turned up. He's only lashed back at you guys. And like I said, if you want to blame anyone for the state of how the world is and how the United States is today, don't blame Trump. Blame the Democrats. The Democrats are responsible. If they would have just left this man alone, a lot of the things that you're seeing and happening would not be happening. That's a fact. Let's continue, though.
To me, this seems a little, can I finish, sir? Can I finish? Can I finish?
Get your phone.
This seems a little bit aggressive to have all these cars in our cul-de-sac, 2, 3 agents, and now I saw the one disappear to the back. So to me, this is a little aggressive to just serve a warrant. Slide the warrant. Let me see the
No, this is what they do to people when they break the law. You know, when you got somebody who sells drugs, when you got somebody who has illegal firearms, when you have someone who is a criminal, this is standard procedure. They raid your home to get a warrant for the arrest, and they proceed with the arresting. This is common.
warrant.
They actually had a little bit more respect because they didn't kick down the door, they didn't throw tear gas, they didn't hit somebody over the head with the ratchet. They had a little more respect for you. You know, they knocked on the door, they tried to execute a peaceful warrant.
Okay. And that, to me, what I have been told, is not a judicial warrant that has me to have to open the door for you.
So that was that. What else we got? Give me 1 second. Oh, yeah, this was the Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club, they talked about it for a little bit. Give me 1 second, y'all. I think I'm having a lot of technical issues today. Give me 1 second, y'all. Having some technical issues. Give me 1 second. Don Lemonade. Oh, this was an AI video of Don Lemon. They said Don Lemon was at the Grammys. They said he was not at the Grammys, but maybe like a Grammy pre-award show that he was at. And this is like an AI video, but they said that's where he was at. So somebody made this AI video.
Hey, what is this? Let me go. Sir, you are under arrest. Do not resist. Arrest? For what? This is a mistake. You have the right to remain silent. I can't believe this is happening. You are really going to arrest a gay black man for going to church? This is why is this happening?
That's crazy. Is it AI something? AI is crazy, bro. AI is crazy. We're gonna get to him being released. We're gonna get to him being released. Let me listen to Mark Lamont, his statement.
This administration doesn't care. They have continued to pursue Don Lemon, looking for a reason to justify his arrest. And last night, Thursday night, January 29th, when Don Lemon was covering the Grammys, entirely unrelated. He's in Los Angeles covering the Grammy Awards. Suddenly, he gets taken into custody by law enforcement.
Yeah, so he was covering the Grammys, I guess. So I guess he was out there because I think the Grammys is on Sunday. So I guess he was just out there talking to a few artists, talking to a couple of artists that's in town. So I guess they pulled up on him out there.
The FBI, again, was involved. The HSI was involved. And of course, that's Homeland Security Investigations. They're basically the investigative wing of ICE. They come in and they also are going after Don Lemon. This is despicable. This is absolutely despicable and inexplicable. You can't explain this. We know about this because Don Lemon's attorney issued a statement. Abby Lowell said, Don has been a journalist for 30 years and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he has always done. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role it is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. There is no more important time for people like Don to be doing this work. Yeah. So it became very clear. It became very clear.
1 second. Give me 1 second, Josh. I just want to put some respect on the people in the chat. Make sure make sure the people are being looked at. Let's get back to
that this is not about a protest. Let me read a little bit more what Lowell said that feeds this. This unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing this administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court. Now, there are a few things at play here that we can talk about, a few things that we need to talk about. And we'll talk about them more later tonight. We'll do a special edition of Night School right here on the channel to get into it. But I wanted to give you all the basic outline here. First, there's the question of whether the protest itself was a problem. St. Paul's City's church was the site of the protest. They were protesting outside the church because they discovered that one of the pastors in the church is an ICE official. They were protesting outside the church, and then at some point they entered the church. Now, I don't know whose idea that was. I don't know what their relationship is to that church, but they entered the church.
We saw that.
They're saying that this tramples upon the rights of the churchgoers, that they have a First Amendment constitutionally protected right to practice their religion, and bursting into the church prevents them from practicing their religion. That's the argument. Protesters saying, we're not disrupting. This isn't about their religious practice. This is about protesting in action. We can have a legal debate.
Now, I do believe that. Now, we may have to go into those videos and look back at how they were acting inside of that church. I do believe that those protesters, I don't think Don Lemon did, but I do think that those protesters, the ones that ran inside the church, I do believe that they did impede on their, constitutional right to practice their religion. I do believe they came into that service, they were yelling at people, they were cursing, they were acting belligerent, they were, chanting the names of the people that have lost their life due to ICE. So they did impede on their constitutional rights to, have the right to, praise their God and, do the things they do in their church. I do think that they did impede on that. I don't think Don Lemon did that. I think Don Lemon was in there asking questions. He wasn't really, I didn't see him really chanting anything. I didn't really see him, I just seen him with the microphone, walking up to people, asking them questions. I didn't see Don Lemon do it. So I'm going to give Don Lemon a break on that. I don't think Don Lemon did do that.
About that. You all can have a legal debate about that. I'm not particularly interested in that question, not right now. I'll leave that to the legal experts. But what I do know is that the journalist who shows up to cover that incident, the journalist who pops up to have that conversation with the world about what's happening, to report on what's happening, there's no legal grounds to arrest him. So what they try to do is make it a conspiracy. No, well, they're conspiring to strip away the freedom of religious practice, and he's one of them. He's not the journalist. That's Naeem Akbar, light-skinned dude from the bank. He's the real boss behind all of this. That's not Naeem Akbar, it's Kareem Akbar on New Jack City. That's the argument they're making. But that's not what's happening. And let's be clear, this is going to get thrown out. This is absolutely...
Will it get thrown out? Will it get thrown out? I do think that Don Lemon has a better chance to get this thrown out. I do think that, Don Lemon's a journalist. He like he said, he's been doing it for 30 years. I can't take that away from him. He is a journalist. He was, he wasn't really partaking in the protest. He was more so just being a broadcaster, being a journalist. I do think it gets thrown out. But in terms of the people that were there, the protesters that were there, I think that they will be prosecuted. And I do think that even though Don Lemon did, he's just a journalist. I do think he did, he did collaborate with these people to impede on their constitutional rights to praise their God. But he is a journalist, so I think he'll be able to lean out of that, and I think that that's correct in that.
Positively, definitely going to get thrown out at some point. No one is going to lock Don Lemon up for this. But the fact that the government is willing to use its strength, its power, its resources to do this shows that this is basically the era of new McCarthyism. That this is the moment where they're going to use all the power of the state as a resource to intimidate and silence those who they view as dissenters, to make journalists enemies of the state, to silence people who are pushing back. That's what's happening right now. And it's absolutely despicable. So we'll keep you updated with Don Lemon's situation. Well, I'll let you know what's going on with Don Lemon's situation as more developments come out. But it's important, it's absolutely important to be clear here that this is not, under any circumstances, legal or even normal. This is a full-fledged assault on free speech. It's not a coincidence that it's Don Lemon either. They wanted to pick somebody who's a big name. They also wanted to pick somebody that
Is it really an attack on free speech? I mean, these people, they did run into a church. They did, you know, they could have, they legitimately could have just stood outside of the church and waited for those people to come out, or, you know, or just protested outside of the church. They decided to storm the church. I mean, is it really them? Yeah, is it really? I mean, I don't know. To me, it's very convoluted. Very convoluted. I agree that Don Lemon should not go to jail. I agree with that. I do think that he is a journalist, and he was being a journalist while he was at the church. But in terms of the whole, you know, the free speech, I don't know. It's very convoluted because you stormed the church doing this, and it's very convoluted.
that Donald Trump doesn't like. Guess what? Donald Trump hates Don Lemon. We know that. So he hates Don Lemon. He hates free speech. He hates protesters. He hates anybody who's resisting ICE. This was the perfect storm that Don Lemon got swept up in. It's shameful. It's embarrassing. It's illegal. And everybody here should be speaking up against it.
So that was Mark Lamont Hill speaking on the matter. And let me know, do you feel that he possibly broke the law? Salute to Sinclair. I see Sinclair's in the building. Says hello, chat. Do you guys feel that Don Lemon broke the law? Did he break the law? Let's take a listen to what the Breakfast Club. Actually, let me not play the Breakfast Club because they're on Netflix now. They got all these different deals. So Don Lemon was released. Let's play this clip. The audio is kind of bad on this one. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. It's another one here. Here we go. Because the audio is kind of bad on that one. Give me 1 second. Let me see what he's saying on this one, and then we'll swing back to that one.
Our career covering the news. I want to hear me. Are you guys set? Everybody ready? So look, I want to thank everybody for their support. It truly means the world to me. I had no idea what's going on because obviously I haven't seen anything. I have spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silent. I look forward to my day in court. Thank you all.
You know what this kind of reminds me of? It kind of, and I'm not trying to compare Don Lemon to the guy, but it just kind of reminds me of the Jussie Smollett, the Jussie Smollett thing. You know, it kind of reminds me of that, just a little bit. I don't know why, but I just got that feeling from that. Sinclair says you can't have better theater than this. Yeah, I agree. It's a shit show. Personally, you know, I think Don Lemon, I agree that Don Lemon will skate out of this. He will get out of this. I don't believe he's going to jail. I don't think he's going to prison for this. I do think that the judge will see that this was not a broadcaster, but a journalist, and he was there reporting on the news, right? He was there reporting on the news. So I do think that the judge will see it Don Lemon's way. In terms of the people that were there. Now, what's that woman's name? Give me 1 second. Organizer. Hold on. Organizer who stormed St. Paul Church. What's her name? Because I was trying to figure out her name. What's her name? It's okay, Nakima. Yeah, Nakima Livy Armstrong. Now, I think she needs to go to jail. She might have to go to jail. She may have to go to jail for her part because she was the organizer. Let me look her up. I know she got arrested. Yeah, see, she got arrested. She was probably the first one who got arrested, actually. Yeah, she was one of the first people who got arrested. Homeland Security investigation. The FBI agents arrested Nakima Livy Armstrong, who played a key role in orchestrating the church riots. Now, I don't like the fact that they're calling them the church riots. It wasn't a riot. Let's be real. It wasn't a riot. Was it a protest? Yes. Were people being heckled? Yes. Were people being harassed? Yes. Was it disrespectful to the members of the church? Yes. But was it a riot? Nah, I don't think it was a riot. Let's be. I didn't see nobody turn over pews and knock over pulpits and grab money out the collection plate and knock the crucifixion off the pedestal. I didn't see all that. It wasn't really a riot. I don't think it was a riot. It was harassing. It was a protest. But a riot, I don't think it was a riot. I don't like that verbiage of them saying that it was the St. Paul Church riot. Hold on. Riot, we just okay. Hold on. Rioter Nakima, we had handcuffs on. As an African American studies expert, it was a closest to slavery. Being arrested isn't racial. Wait, what? I gotta hear this. Hold on.
But it's on brand for a waist.
I gotta hear this. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
We had belly chains around our waist, and we had handcuffs with bars in the middle. As someone who majored in African American studies, I can tell you that is the closest I ever felt to slavery in my life.
I gotta stop you right there. Stop comparing you protesting to slavery. Just stop it. It's so disrespectful. It's disrespectful. You was in a holding cell for a few hours. You had a belly chain on, or whatever. Stop comparing it to slavery. It's so disrespectful. And I want to look into her background now. Because I want to look into is this a foundational Black American woman? I need to know. If this is a foundational Black American woman. And you sitting up here talking about this is the closest I felt to slavery. Are you a foundational Black American woman talking like that? Hold on, because I better not find out that you a tether. Or you from the Caribbean or something like that. Nakima Valdez Livy Armstrong. Where's she from? Let me read into her. Let me read. This is the organizer who put this thing together. Okay, Mississippi. Okay, she might be FBA. She was born in Jackson, Mississippi. Okay. Yeah, she might not be a tether. Okay. She might not be a tether. Yeah, 'cause I don't like that verbiage. I don't like you comparing slavery to you spending a couple hours in a holding cell with a chain on. Like that's very disrespectful to anybody who has an ancestor who went through slavery. That's very disrespectful. Yeah, but she got arrested. That other white man, he got arrested. I forgot his name. This guy right here, I forgot his name. This dude right here, he got arrested. Yeah, what's his name? William Kelly. Yeah, William Kelly. Let me look that dude up. William Kelly. William Kelly. He got arrested too. Yeah, he got arrested. There you go. He was really the one turning up the most, if you ask me. He was probably turned up the most, if you ask me. Sinclair says, "Ma'am, that was a bit of a stretch." Yeah, it's very disrespectful. I hate that verbiage when people try to compare, something to slavery. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. Let's play some.
Hey, who'd you vote? Hey, who'd you vote for? Who'd you vote for? Who'd you vote for?
He was turned up out there. I ain't gonna lie. He was wilding out. Out of everybody there, he was the one that was wilding out the most.
Who'd you vote for? Who'd you vote for? Who'd you vote for, bud? Yeah, fuck you, you fucking Nazi piece of shit. Fuck you, you traitor.
Yeah, he was turned up out there. He was turned up out more than anybody. He did this in the church too. He was wilding like he ain't just do this outside. He was doing this inside the church. He was wilding out there. Yeah, man, William Kelly.
As you can see, all these pretend Christians,
There we go.
all these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No! Jesus would dine with immigrants. Do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens.
Hey, you can't.
You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this attack on humanity? Where are you?
Yeah, like I said, this is not a riot. I don't like that verbiage of them saying that this is a riot. This wasn't a riot. It was a protest. People in the church were definitely harassed. They were definitely being berated with insults and all types of, loud language and, but was it a riot? It wasn't a riot. I don't know why they calling it the St. Paul riot. It wasn't a riot. It wasn't a riot.
You're sinners. You're pretending to be Christians. But we know you live an easy life, don't you? A very easy life while people are starving. Shame. Out now. Out now. Living real comfortable while the people starve. Living real comfortable while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're all living real comfortable, aren't you? Shame on you. Do something. Stand with the Somalis. Stand with the Latinos. Quit ignoring this injustice. He wears a suit and tie and he hangs out with Kristi Noem. How is that a Christian? You're supposed to accept all immigrants, are you not? Why are you not going down to Whipple and joining us in protest against this inhumanity? You claim to be a Christian, act like one.
Yeah, he was turned up out there. He was turned up out there. Yeah, but in terms of Don Lemon, I mean, I think Don Lemon is going to be good. Sinclair says that guy is a nut job. He is a human. Hold on. He is a human ashtray. Yeah, I mean, he's listen, man. He represents the political left, man. He represents the political left. He had another video that he was wow. Hold on, let me see if I can find that video. He had another video he was wilding. Is this it?
I mean, what we're seeing around this country is they're using their political influence to attack people that disagree with them. They're going to come at me with charges, and I'm not scared of that. There's no base for these charges.
See, William, I respect him a little bit because, you know, I feel like, you know, at least he understands that, you know, he understands the process. He understands that, yeah, I wild out, but I'm, you know, he believes in something. Whether you agree with his political stance or not, you know, he understands the process. He understands that he's probably going to go to jail. They're probably going to be trumped up charges. You know, I respect the fact that he's willing to go out there and do that. I respect that. I respect that he's willing to go out there and do that. You know, I think that, you know, I think that the tactic of them going into the church, I just don't see the point in why they stormed the church. I don't see the point in why they stormed the church. Why didn't they have any respect to say, you know what? This is a house of God, or this is a church. Let's not storm the church. Let's just protest outside and, you know, confront the people when they come outside of the church. Wouldn't that make more sense? Wouldn't it make more sense to protest outside of the church and to berate the members as they come out, and berate the members and berate the pastor and stuff like that? Wouldn't that make more, to me, that would make more sense than how they went about it. I mean, they went in there, they stormed the service. It was just a little bit much. It was a little bit much, you know?
I did not block them from, you know, their service. They welcomed us in. They never asked us to leave.
Nah, you definitely blocked them from their service. You definitely was berating them. You were calling them names. You definitely blocked them from their service. That's a fact.
They're going to come at me with charges, and I'm not scared of that. There's no base for these charges. I did not block them from, you know, their service. They welcomed us in. They never asked us to leave. The police never came in and removed us. So we didn't stop their service. In fact, people were still praying the entire time. The music was still playing the entire time. So, you know, Pam Bondi, you want to come and arrest me? You want to come and give me charges? So be it. And for all the people giving me death threats, threatening my life, kill me. Go ahead. Kill.
Yeah, nah, this guy, he's wilding. He's wilding. What's wrong with this? He's ready to crash out. He's ready to crash out. I had to stop him. I had to stop that. I had to stop him. Sinclair says they claim a pastor of the church works for ICE. Yeah, did they ever find out who that was? Who was it? Who was the pastor who works for ICE? Hold on. St. Paul Church pastor who works for ICE. Did they ever find out who that was? Oh, is it this person? David Easterwood, a pastor for City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota, is identified as the active field officer. David Easterwood, is that the guy? David Easterwood, City's Church. Let me see. David Easterwood, City's Church. Is this him? Yeah, David Easterwood. Yeah, I believe this is the guy. I believe this is the man, David Easterwood. But yeah, you know, at the end of the day, I think that Don Lemon will be fine. I think Don Lemon is probably gonna, you know, they're probably not gonna go hard on him. They're probably gonna drop all the charges, and he's gonna walk free. So I don't think Don Lemon has anything to worry about. We'll have to see how this plays out. But it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out with Don Lemon. So we'll have to see in a couple days to see how this works out, man. But that's what I have to say in terms of this topic. Listen, let me know what you guys think of this topic. Let me know what you guys think of Don Lemon. Will he go to prison? Will he not? Do you feel that he was just doing his journalistic duties? And do you feel that the Department of Justice overstepped by arresting him? Let me know what you guys feel. Let me know what you guys think. Shout out to Sinclair. Shout out to FBA.